Hey y'all. Hey everybody. I want to talk about shadow work real quick. Um, for one, shadow work is very important on your healing journey and it's never ending. Like it is never ending. I know people like, oh, I'm healing, I'm healed. No, ma'am. No, sir. Shadow work is never ending. Okay, so since we all know shadow work is never ending, let me tell y'all why it's important on your level up journey. Okay, now I don't care who you are. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care what you're going through. There is something in your life that blocks you, right? There is something in your life that blocks you. There is something in your life that you are afraid of, okay? You are afraid of emotionally. You don't want to go back to this particular place. You don't want to acknowledge what happened to you. That is your trigger, okay? So it is important for you to work through your triggers because it will stop you in your tracks. Hello, hi. It will stop you in your tracks. It will stop you in your progress. Okay. There are things that we distract ourselves with things to help us forget what triggers us, to help us forget about the things that happen to us, to make us numb the pain of our shadows. But your job is to face those shadows head on. Like your job is to acknowledge those shadows so you can heal from them. That is your job. Is alcohol for me? Yes, alcohol for a lot of people. You aren't the only one that feels like that. I'm just glad that you are in a place where you can understand why that is. Because what those things that you put in place do, it's like a child with a pacifier. Like this child needs his diaper changed, the child is hungry, but you don't have time for that. You just put the pacifier in the child's mouth. Eventually, that pacifier is not going to work. It's not going to work. So that's how you encounter the things that you are overcoming. I mean, you are countering certain things that's helping you with your shadows. You're not confronting them. Okay. Um, okay, let's just say right here it says, what am I addicted to? A lot of times people are addicted to certain things because it helps you feel better in your shadows. Like it helps you feel better in your lower self. It helps you feel better in your journey. So let's just say you're in a space in your life where you want to forget certain things, right? You want to forget certain things. You want to forget people did these things to you. So instead of you actually working through that, you go to food. Or actually you working through that, you turn to sex. Or you working through that, you turn to alcohol. You work through that, instead of you working through that, you turn to drugs. Okay? And then you realize that the things that help you ignore your shadows, they are becoming another shadow version of yourself. You're not healing in those spaces. You will never be able to heal in those spaces. Okay, so by you not healing in those spaces, not only are you not encountering your shadows, you now have the problems of the addiction that you ran to because of your shadows. It's like a never ending hole. It's like a bottomless pit. Okay? And how I explain shadows, this is how I explain it. Let's just say your shadows are is the monster in the basement. Okay? Let's just say that. Your shadows is the monster in the basement. You know what created that monster in the basement. You know why that monster is there. But you tend to ignore the monster, right? You just leave it there. You don't give it no food. You don't give it no water. You don't acknowledge that it's there. You just know that it's there. Okay? Eventually, something's going to trigger this monster. Okay? And once whatever triggers this monster, your monster is going to break out of that basement. and then you say to yourself, oh my God, I don't know what to do with this monster. I mean, oh my God, I just don't, I want to forget about it. But the monster is in your face, actually attacking you, right? That's not how you handle your monsters, okay? You have to actually go down to the basement, okay, where your monster is. You got to go down to that basement and say, hey, I see you, okay? I recognize you. I know you're here for this reason, but I want you to know that I love you, okay? I want you to know that you are protected. I want you to know that you are safe. So yes, I know you're here, but I'm going to understand you a little bit more. I know you're here. I'm going to give you a little bit more grace. I know you're here. I'm going to acknowledge you. I'm going to acknowledge the things that made you become a monster. I'm going to acknowledge those things. And hopefully, at the end of my acknowledgement, monster. Okay? Pretty much point blank in a nutshell. Okay? Because once you understand that your goals and the things you want to go to is up here, right? Let's say it's up here. It's at the top of the tip, or the top. Okay? And if you have not dealt with your shadow work, your shadow self is down here, right? So by your shadow self being down here, the more you are discouraged, the more you feel sorry for yourself, the more you feel helpless, the more you feel angry, the more you feel inadequate, the more you feel not complete, the more you feel unjustified in your being, you will begin to be at this level, right? Now, all those emotions that I mentioned, they're too heavy for you to take up here. You can't take them. You will never take them there. It's too heavy. It's too much stuff on your back. It's too much things that you're encountering in your spirit that won't elevate you to where you want to go to. It won't elevate you to that space. It won't elevate you to that part. Like it won't elevate you to that place where you want to go. Okay? Because like you a anchor. Like you're trying to reach the top, but you got all these emotions that is holding down your anchor. You will never get up there. You will never get up there. Okay? So what you have to understand is you have to break through, chisel through those emotions. One by one. You have to chisel through those emotions. And the more that you chisel through, this worked for you. Yes, I'm still going through my shadow work. Shadow work is never ending. Because just because I have conquered certain things in my life doesn't mean I conquered everything in my life. There are things that I have conquered, but there are things that I have not conquered. And I'm in the space right now conquering those things. So I can get to that level. So I can get to the point where I want to be. See, a lot of people, I guess you're asking me that because you're looking at me from a physical space and you aren't taking in consideration of what I'm saying, or you're not taking in consideration of me being up here because I can't give you any information. But let me tell you something, okay? That's not how this shit work, okay? Because the shit that I could have fucking conquered, the stuff that I have conquered, you are scared to, you yourself will be scared to address. I don't already addressed that. But there are things that you may conquered in your life where it's hard for me to address. We need to stop looking at people as if you're not in a hole, Totally. If you're not completely whole, you can't tell me nothing. If you're not completely where you need to be, you can't tell me nothing. But let me tell you something. In this thing called life, in this world, okay? If you're living, if you're breathing, if you still got air in your lungs, there are lessons you have to learn in this motherfucker. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you look like. I don't care how much money you think you got. If you are still breathing, there are lessons that you have to learn here. There are lessons that you have to learn here. So by those lessons that you have to learn here, by you just stopping at a particular space, because you say, hey, I'm gonna conquer that. Well, this is as far as I'm gonna go. Okay. But please understand, when those things that you haven't conquered pop up in your life, it is not only frightens you, it paralyzes you. Have you ever been paralyzed by fear? Like that's just like every time this emotion pops up in your mind. Every time this emotion pops up in your mind. Hold on, y'all. If you still watching, send me the request again because I want to say this before I accept y'all up here. Okay, so send me the request again. So every time you don't encounter your shadows, you are paralyzed by that. Can you imagine? Like every time you reverted back to a space in your life where you felt uncomfortable, every time you reverted back to the emotion that you felt when you were in the most pain of your life, it's like every time you step out your door, someone put a pew pew in your face. That's what running from your shadows look like. Every time you walk out that door, somebody's sticking a boom boom pew pew in your face. That's how terrified you are. That's how our shadows enable us. That's how our shadows disable us for us to get to the highest version of ourselves. That's what you feel. Those are things that you go through. You become paralyzed by the emotions that your shadows have caused, and you cannot move when you're paralyzed. You cannot. You cannot move when you're scared. You cannot. So, in order for you to move out of that obstacle, in order for you to move out of that obstacle, if you don't, com- if you don't confront those emotions, you will always be paralyzed in that state. Okay. Now, what you have to do is you have to actually understand why you are feeling this way, because a lot of people just take the emotion that they're feeling and just stay in there. Like you just stay in that emotion. But your emotions are supposed to be a fine tune on how you live your life. Like your emotions are supposed to be just a fine tuning example of where you want to be. Because if you are uncomfortable in that emotion, you're supposed to change to something else. Okay? Hold on, y'all. And 9 times out of 10, we don't do that. Like we don't change to anything else. We just kind of stay on that station. But that's not how your emotions are supposed to be used. That's not how you're supposed to utilize your emotions, okay? So if you are in a point in your life where, let's just say, your shadow lies in anger, right? Let me turn on this light because it's like I can't see shit. Hold on. Okay. Now, let's just say your emotion lies in anger. Okay? And everywhere you go, you know that somebody just look at you in a certain way. Somebody just say just the slightest thing to you, you're going to release that beast of anger out on them, right? Instead of you covering up the anger with drugs, instead of you covering the anger up with drink, instead of you covering up the anger with physical encounters, you had to now dissect the reason why you feel angry. You had to dissect that. You have to dissect the reason why you feel angry. So let's just say your anger stems from, let's just say, because a lot of trauma comes from childhood. So let's just say something happened within your childhood, right? And whatever happened in your childhood traumatized you to the point where you were so angry. Okay? Now, by it happening to your childhood, you couldn't do nothing. You couldn't say anything. You couldn't protect yourself. You couldn't protect the people that were around you if something was happening to them. It's like a lot of things you couldn't encounter as a child, right? So you take the anger that you have in your childhood because of the things that happened to you because you were unable to protect yourself. You take that anger into your adulthood. You take that anger into your adult life because you already made up your mind and your trauma that you will never be helpless again. You already made up in your mind and your trauma that you will never allow anybody to make you a victim again. So instead of you actually digesting that anger and say, you know what, that happened to me. I'm not a child anymore. I'm controlling my environment. I'm controlling my emotions. And the things that I encounter have nothing to do with me. The things that I encounter have everything to do with the people that were surrounding me. I am safe in my being as a person. Instead of you doing that, you display anger because you're still stuck in that trauma. You display anger upon people in your adulthood that had absolutely nothing to do with your trauma. That have absolutely nothing to do with how you feel on the inside. That have absolutely nothing to do with you being helpless as a child. But you want to ignore that monster. You can't ignore that monster. Because the more you ignore it, the more that monster will then attack other people. And then everyone's looking at you like I can't talk to you. I can't talk to you. I can't say nothing to you. You just always angry. You always want to fight. Every time you go somewhere, you just always, because with me, unbeknownst to you, you are still trying to protect the child that was hurt when you were a child. But you are an adult. You're not in that space anymore. The person that hurt you is not in your space anymore. The person that did something to you does not have any hold of you anymore. The only hold that person has, the only hold that trauma has, the only hold that these emotions have is the power that you are giving it. That's the only hold those things have. It's the power that you are breathing into it. That's it. That's it. Because if you didn't breathe power into it, it will be nothing. You are fueling that with anger. You are fueling that. I'm not saying you're supposed to ignore it because that's where the monster came from. You're supposed to get to a point in your life and say, you know what? I love me. I accept me. I'm going to protect me. I'm not going to let that monster ruin my life. I'm not going to let that emotion tear me down. I'm not going to let the things that happened to me in the past stop me from being the greatest of what my God intended me to be. You have the choice. Everybody else don't. You have that choice. Because what we do as a people and as society, we always want to somehow make the other people who endured those things onto us, we want them to fix it. We want them to fix it. I can't believe you said those things to me. I can't believe you did those things to me. Do you know how that made me feel? Do you know when I was a child I was scared? Do you know when I seen you do this make me feel some type of way? Do you know how I feel? Do you know what it made me do? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Even if they say, you know what? I acknowledge you. I see you. I'm sorry. That's not going to erase it. Because your mind gonna keep on going back and forth. Yeah, I know you say you sorry, but that's not taking away what I feel. So if it's not taken away from what you feel, you have the power to turn that off. You. No one else has that power but you. Nobody. Nobody else has that power to turn that emotion that you feel off but you. That's why apologies never work. That's why somebody saying sorry never works. It's all up to you. It's all up to the power that you want to adhere to. So once you tell yourself, you know what? Because you tell yourself, I don't want to be afraid no more. But then you start using the same energy that disabled you. You are starting to display the same energy that disabled you onto the people around you. So now you are no longer a victim. You are now the abuser. When you're telling somebody that you're releasing this anger on, they don't care. You telling them, well, I grew up like in my mama and my daddy, and you don't know what I went through. They don't care about that. They didn't present that to you. They didn't give that to you. Now, who's the abuser? You're putting too much power into that emotion. That's why it's so hard for a lot of people. If you're a space in your life where you feel unwanted, you feel unwanted, you believe nobody loves you, you believe that you are not valuable, you believe that, people only treat you a certain way because nobody cares for you, nobody loves you, nobody, you just feeling a need of unwantedness. Now, this is to my ladies. I don't know how many of y'all are listening, but this is more focused to you because we fall into this trap more than anybody. You start feeling unworthy. Your spirit becomes broken. Okay? So the more your spirit becomes broken, you say to yourself, I'm going to be wanted regardless. Hold on, y'all. Let me plug up my phone. I'm going to be wanted regardless. Somebody wants me, I'm going to give them whatever they want. Because nobody wanted me when I grew up. Nobody saw the value in me for nothing. Nobody gave me anything. Nobody cared about me. Everyone just threw me away. So what do you do with that emotion? You turn that emotion into being promiscuous. Because this person that's in front of you is telling you, no, don't worry about it. I want you. You're so beautiful to me. I want you. I want you. You want to be wanted so much. You now are becoming a monster of promiscuity. Unbeknownst to you, you're self-sabotaging yourself. So now we get to the people who actually love you, who actually see the goodness in you. You are so connected to that monster of being promiscuous. You will seek attention from other people. You have to be wanted regardless. Because you, instead of you telling yourself, you know what? I love me. I'm okay with me. I know what people did to me. That's not going to stop me from devaluing myself. That's not going to stop me from loving myself. That is not going to stop me from actually catering to myself, being genuine with myself, being graceful to myself. That's not going to stop me from that. But what people do is they'll turn around and they say, you know what? Nobody wants me, so I'll make sure everybody wants me. But in the meantime, you are discarding yourself. In the meantime, you are damaging yourself. In the meantime, you are becoming that monster. That's why shadow work is important. That's why. You will never get to the place where you want to. You will never get to the place you want to be in life. You will just be. Let's say you will just be living in survival mode in that space. You will just be living in survival mode in that space. And I say this when it comes to survival mode. We as a people lived in that place in a long time, but when you're surviving, you'll do anything. You in the jungle, just say like you are thriving in your life. You're gonna react different than when you go into the jungle and you're stranded. So when you're thriving in your life, you have everything that you need, everything that you want. But you're okay with not having because you know eventually you're going to get something. You're okay. I'm fine. But when you're surviving in that jungle, you don't know when your next chance is coming on. You don't know where your next meal coming from. You have no idea. So you see that rat. That rat is the only thing that's moving around you. You need to eat it. Now, will you eat a rat when you thriving on your highest frequency? Hell no, you won't. But will you eat that rat? When you in living in the jungle, you don't know where your next meal will come from. I'll bet you will. You will. And that's how we live. That's how we've been accustomed to living life in that survival space. We have been accustomed to living life in that survival space all the time. All the time. If y'all listening, y'all don't got to see me no roses, but can y'all just get the likes up? Tap the screen, please. Tap the screen. That's how we have been accustomed to living in this world in survival mode. Okay? And when it comes to this, have I been distracting myself? A lot of times you have. Excuse me, y'all be talking. I don't know because my nose itch every time I get on this live. Every time I get on live. You distract yourself with things that's liable to take you out. So now you not only have to deal with the pain that you suffered when you was a kid. You not only have to suffer from you not only have to go through the things that brought you trauma in your early life. Now you have to deal with the addictions of your distractions. That's why a lot of people who in that cycle, they figure like they can't get out. I can't get out. These people did this to me in the past. These people, and I can't let that emotion go. So instead of me actually acknowledge the emotion, I just grab onto what make me distract the emotion. I just grab onto what make me feel good at the moment. I just grab onto what make me forget about it. But then I had to realize the things that I'm distracting myself with, I am now addicted to because I can't let them go. Not because they're great for me, but because the pain that I felt in the past is so present. I can't release this addiction. Because as soon as I release this addiction, that pain is going to come in. I don't want to feel it. I don't want to remember it. I don't want to be reminded. It has to be gone. That's why they fall in that cycle. That cycle go hand in hand. That cycle go hand in hand for a reason. And that cycle goes hand in hand for a reason because those things will never fix you. We will never be fixed by that. Those things will never be able to even get you in the place of abundance. Those things just take from you. They just take and take and take and take. So instead of you saying, damn, I feel messed up, I think I'm going to change my life because I don't like feeling the way I feel. You gravitate to some more things that's going to take from you. So instead of you drinking, now you doing a little bit something extra. So instead of you doing something extra, now you being promiscuous. Okay, instead of you being promiscuous, now you committed crime. It's just like you can't run away from yourself. You cannot. That's why shadow work is important. You will never be able to run away from yourself. Never. That's why you see these people and they say, you know what, forget everybody in Texas. I'm going to New York. And as soon as they get to New York, they have the same problems that they had in Texas. Then they say, well, forget everybody in New York. I'm going to go to Washington. They get to Washington and they have the same problems that they had in Texas, New York, and in this state. Because it's not about where you go. It's not about where you reside. It's about who you are. It's about what's inside of you. Because you're going to experience the things, wherever you are, wherever you go in this world. It's always going to be you. You are going to take you wherever you go. You're going to take you wherever you go. So if you going to take you wherever you go, you think the problem is getting around new people? You're still going to be there. You think the problem is getting into a new state? You are still going to be in that state. And once you understand about this thing called life, the things that you're looking for to fix you, the things that you're looking for to give you some gratification, the things that you're looking for in order to give you some sense of self-love, all comes from you. It all comes from you. You're only going to find you inside of you. You're not going to find you in a relationship. You're not going to find you in a religion. You're not going to find you in a different area code. Only place you're going to find yourself is within yourself. And I always say that is the hardest thing. People don't tell people that. Everybody's so stuck on this dream. Oh, I had to have this perfect relationship, and I had to make this much money, and I had to buy a car, and I had to buy a house, and I have to have a dog, and I have to have like 2.5 children, and I'm going to be happy. No. No, 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 no. No. It does not work like that. It has never worked like that. Those things are not going to help you satisfy the anguish that you feel within your heart. Those things is not going to help you rectify the brokenness you feel in your spirit. Those things are not going to do that. No matter who think you cute, no matter how many dudes you can talk to, no matter who want to lay up with you, no matter how much money you make, no matter how many trees you can smoke, no matter how much drink you can drink, that shit is not going to heal you. It's not. And we all have fights. We all have our battles. But once you understand what your fight and your battle look like, now you in competition. Now the real fight is on. Now the real fight is on. Instead of you fighting somebody because you want everybody to think that you is tough because you felt scared when you was a kid. The real fight is the fight between you and yourself. Me, myself, and I. That's when the gloves get taken off. Because then you can't lie to yourself. Because you're trying to get yourself to the point of where you ready to get out this cycle. You ready to get out this hole. And ain't no holes barred right now. I'm trying to survive. Okay? I gotta acknowledge the shit that you be on. You gotta look in the mirror. That's when the real fight is. You looking in the mirror. And you say, I gotta realize the shit that you be on. You know when you go out in public and you know when you do these things to people, you know you are becoming what you dislike. You know you becoming what you hate. You know you becoming what tore you down. You don't think you need to change. You like feeling this way. You like becoming an abuser. Do you like this? This make you feel good? This make you feel good, like you remember how you felt. So in return, you're going to make other people feel that way? That make you feel justified in your pain? That make you solidified in the bullshit that you do to people? That's the real fucking fight. And people do everything and anything they can do not to address themselves. Anything and everything they can do not to address themselves. Anything, everything. Denial, accusing, ignoring, disillusion. Like they would do anything and everything to not confront themselves. To not look at themselves and say, you know what? I've been walking around here faulty. I've been walking around here on some bullshit. No, that gotta change because I can't. No. I'm not gonna get stuck in that cycle of people to put me in for the rest of my life. And then you understand where the real power comes from. You ignoring it is not powerful. You being in denial of it is not powerful. You being delusional is not showing you, is not displaying how powerful you are. That has nothing to do with power. That has nothing to do with I gotta keep on going because. That has nothing to do with that. Are you supposed to keep on going? Yes. But there's a time you're supposed to call yourself out on your shit. Because you have to understand you have the power. Thank you. Thank you for the likes. Thank you. You have the power. So the more you are giving or relinquishing the power to your pain, where is your power going to lie? Your power is going to lie in your pain. That's why it's so painful. the power is going to lie in your pain. That's where you're giving the energy to. It's like these people, whoever this could have happened with, friendship, relationships, parents, siblings, friends, whoever. These people put you in a compromising position and they handle you in a certain way. One thing you have to always remember is people will only produce what's inside of them. You will only get the product of them. You will only get the product of other people. You will never get the product of something that they don't have inside of them. So that makes it easier on your journey. So you can say, okay, I was just experiencing what this person had to produce. I wasn't experiencing what belonged to me. I wasn't experiencing what I deserved. I was only experiencing what they had inside of them. It'll make this shit a whole fucking easier. Okay? So once you start looking at it like that, I will love the product of someone I'm looking at. Once you start looking at it like that, okay? Once you start looking at it like that, you can say to yourself, okay, since I only experienced the product of these people, I'm not going to allow this product to change me. I deserve more than what these people were producing. Your energy draws people in. That's what I'm here for. I'm just doing my duty. Thank God for that. Thank God for that. You would tell yourself, you know what? I was just experiencing what they had to offer. I wasn't experiencing what I deserved. So I'm about to go get what I deserve. I'm going to be what I deserve. But what people do is, why it's so hard for people to overcome their shadows, is they merge the produce that these other people had and a product that they were originally born with. That's when the shit start getting difficult. That's when shit start getting difficult. The shit start getting difficult when you can't tell the difference. The shit start getting difficult when you don't know if you're experiencing the things, if you're feeling the way that you feel because this is who you are, or you feeling the things that you feel because this is what people gave to you. That's when the shit becomes confusing. Because then you not only have to digest who you are as a person, you have to digest the people that hurt you. And that's going to make you feel even more fucked up. This shit is a never ending journey. That's why a lot of people have a hard time with it. It's so many steps that's included into shadow work. It's just not, okay, when I'm angry, well, all right, I don't want to be angry no more, and let me just walk down the street. Like, that's not, it's so many steps to this. You not only have to acknowledge the shit that you feel, right? You got to acknowledge the shit you feel. You got to acknowledge the things that you ignoring with the things that you feel. Okay? You have to acknowledge the things that you are participating that's damaging your life because of the things that you feel. Then you have to acknowledge who you really are to begin with. Okay? Then you have to acknowledge who the people that hurt you are. And that's a whole nother fucking rabbit hole. So you mean to tell me my mama didn't have all the information? What? You mean to tell me my mama didn't know better than that? You mean to tell me that my daddy didn't have more sense than doing the shit that he done did that make me feel the way that I feel? This shit's a fucking never fucking in the cycle. You have to dive deep into that shit in order for you to be okay within yourself and say, you know what? It is what it is. Everybody will just experience life on the way that they experience life. Everybody was just experiencing the things that they go through because of the information that they have. Okay? But I'm going to make a solidified choice for myself that I'm going to gain the information and I'm going to utilize that information for the greatest good of myself. So I won't become an abuser. I won't become the person that victimizes other people because I'm still stuck in the energy of my abuser. That's what you have to do. That's what this shit is all about. That is what it's all about. And once you start utilizing the things, you are not only start understanding who you are as a person, you will start giving your abusers just a little bit more grace. Just a little bit more compassion. Just a little bit more understanding. Because now you understand it wasn't about me. It was about the unprocessed emotions that they felt inside of them. Because no one came to them and said, hey, I see you angry. Hey, I see you depressed. Hey, I see you being addicted to certain things. What you running away from? Hey, I see you out there just giving your body to certain people. Why you don't feel valuable? Hey, I see you being abusive. What made you so scared in your life you feel like you got to cause physical pain? What did that to you? No one was back there doing that to them. They didn't have that information. No one was back there giving them that information. They just say, hey, okay, well, you did that to me? Okay, well, shoot. I guess I'm supposed to hold it for the rest of my life. All right, well, shit. I gotta do something because it's hard for me to hold this. I gotta do something because it's too hot for me to hold this. It's burned. I gotta do something else because it's too cold for me to hold this because it's freezing. I have to do something that will assist me from not feeling that pain or that burn or that freezing. I have to do something. Okay, so what am I gonna grab? What am I gonna grab? Okay, well, all right, so my parents did this to me, people that I love did this to me, and so I have this inside of me. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab this drink. And when you grab the drink, that drink comforts you. It tells you, hey, everything is fine here. Well, just calm down. Just relax your mind. Those things is far and beyond right now. You don't have to worry about nothing. You don't have to hold that. I'll hold it for you. Just one more sip. I'll hold it for you. Don't worry about that. So then you take this drink as a for real comfort mechanism. Now you can't let it go. You can't let it go. Because now you are tying this drink to your safety. Now you're tying this drink to your comfort. Now you are tying this drink to what's going to fix you. But unbeknownst to you, the more you gravitate towards this drink, the more this drink is going to leave you empty. Because now you have a crutch. That's just like if you broke your leg. Instead of you actually healing your leg, you refuse not to heal it. You just walk the rest of your life on a crutch. That's what people do emotionally. Now, this ain't two people who do have a drink every once in a while. I'm not saying that. I'm talking to people who actually use this as a crutch for their emotions. It's not because you just need time to unwind and, you had a hard day or whatever the case is. You just need, just a little relief. A lot of people use that relief as a coping mechanism. That's different. Once it becomes a coping mechanism, once it becomes something that you can't live without because you're so scared of the trauma that you went through, that's different. That's different. Okay? And when you talk about shadow work, okay, it says, I already talked about how you've been distracting yourself. Okay? How have I been ignorant? Okay? When you don't do your shadow work, you become very ignorant. You wanna know why? Because your information button has turned all the way the fuck off. It has turned all the way off. You become ignorant into your circumstances. And the more you become ignorant to your circumstances, the more you be lost. The more you will be delusional. Because people can actually see you and tell you, hey, what's going on with you? Well, yeah, I don't know, but it seems like lately you're having a hard time. You seem very emotional. I always see you. You're always drinking or something, or you being real promiscuous right now. What happened? What's going on with you? You want to talk? Hold on, y'all. Okay. Now, you will hold on a second, y'all. So now you'll become ignorant, okay? And it's not like you're becoming ignorant to to um to just people. You become ignorant to situations. You become ignorant to information. Because the more people are actually noticing you, you were telling them they not noticing shit. You become delusional. You not noticing anything, I'm fine. You're not noticing anything, I'm okay. You're not noticing anything. You can't tell me who I am. You don't see any difference. You become ignorant when you have not did your shadow work. Because anything new you don't want to gravitate to because you're so stuck in the shadows of yourself. You're so stuck in your shadows of yourself. Okay? So when it says, okay, am I truly healthy? You not doing your shadow work will leave you unhealthy. Okay? Now for me, I never had issue with drugs. Never had issue with alcohol like that. But my trigger is I like to eat. I know what my triggers are. Okay? I know what it is. So if I I'm not unable to acknowledge that, I'm unable to get healthy. Like, even though I am healthy, let's put that, let me take that back. I'm healthy. I'm just overweight. I don't have no illnesses. I don't have no ailments, no diseases. Like, I'm just need to lose weight. Okay? But if I was in a space in my life where I didn't acknowledge that, how can I heal from that? I will never be able to heal from that because I'm not acknowledging it. Okay? And when you haven't did your shadow work, it will leave you unhealthy because, for one, you're not acknowledging your traumas. Okay? You're not acknowledging your traumas. So, by you not acknowledging your traumas, you are unable to acknowledge everything else that's going on with you. It could be the doctors telling you, hey, you know what? You got high blood pressure, you diabetic, you got heart disease, you have all these things, and then you tell them, okay, all right, bye, I'll see you next week. And the doctor looking at you like, did you hear what I said though? I mean, I need you to take this more. I need you to actually take this in. I don't think you heard what I said. You have ailments that you need to work on. Okay, yeah, I heard you. Let's just write me the prescription. I just go. I got somewhere to go. When you don't deal with your shadow work, you will ignore the things that's happened inside of you. You will ignore your headaches. You will ignore your pain. You will ignore the things you're feeling. You will ignore it because a lot of times the things that you are ignoring is contribute to the things that you have now gravitated to in order for you to ignore the trauma. It all goes hand in hand. It all goes hand in hand. Okay, let's say you experience trauma. Okay, you have not done your shadow work. Instead of you experience trauma. Okay, you hold that shadow in yourself. So instead of you not doing the work, which is the shadow work, you grab an addiction. Okay, now this addiction is tuned to your health. So then you are unhealthy. Okay, you experience trauma. You haven't did the work. You pick up a bottle. Now this bottle that made you forget about your traumas, but not only has this bottle made you forget about your traumas, this bottle has made you has made you become a victim of liver disease. Okay, now you have psoriasis of the liver. Okay, yeah, this bottle made you forget about what happened, but this bottle is making you an alcoholic. Okay, when you talk about, just say food. Let's just say something happened to you in your childhood. Like on the 600-pound people. That's all that is. That's why I don't really, I watch that show, but I don't really talk down on those people because they are experiencing a lot of trauma up here. That's not, oh, I'm just fat, I'm just greedy, I just want to eat everything up in sight. They experience so much things up here and in their heart. They can't release it. So they use the food to comfort them for the things they can't release inside of here and in here. Okay? So let's just say you experienced something in your childhood. Now, food is the most easiest thing for you to gravitate to because we got food everywhere. You got food in your kitchen. You don't have to wait till you 8:21 to go get some food. You got food in your kitchen. People bring stuff over. You go to school with food. You go to home with food. You on the corner with food. So let's say you a child and things done traumatize you to a point where you now are gravitating towards food because food makes you forget about the things that happened to you in your life. Okay, so you take that coping mechanism to your adulthood. Okay, now if you are ignorant to the fact of these things happen to you and this is the reason why you eat that way, and then you go on into adulthood and those things that you are eating has now made you diabetic. The things that you have eaten now has made you have high blood pressure. You won't be able to acknowledge that. Or let's just say you in a space in your life where you experienced trauma. Okay, this trauma made you very sexually promiscuous. Okay, so instead of you actually tuning that energy to something else, you become promiscuous. And when you became promiscuous, now you in the clinic. Now you got to get antibiotics. Now you got these STIs and STDs. Now you always going to the big brown clinic. Now you always need plan Bs. Now you need a -7 all the time. It goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand. So that's why you cannot run from your shadows. Your shadows will begin to ruin your fucking life. If you don't sit there in it and say, you know what, those things happen to me, but I'm not there no more. I'm an adult. I am in tune with myself. I know what I deserve. I know what I was here for. I can't let what these people did to me engrave my spirit so much where my spirit is suffering because of the shit that they did to me. My spirit and my heart deserves more than that. I can't let that tarnish me. I can't let that destroy me. I love me, even if they couldn't. I respect me, even if they didn't. I see me, even if they ignore me. I know who I am. I love me, no matter who did what to me. That's how you have to live. If you don't, it's going to be hard for you to survive here. It's going to be hard for you to survive here if you don't do that. Ain't no if, ands, buts about it. Now, let's get to the productivity of shadow work. If you don't do your shadow work, you will not be productive. You just won't be. You will not be productive. Even if you try to be productive, you will not be productive. If you don't do your shadow work, if you don't work on things that you have an issue with, you will not be productive. You want to know why? Because every time that monster jump into your face, you back up. So if you're backing up every time you start a project, if you backing up every time you go to a new direction, if you backing up every time you done said to yourself, okay, I'm gonna do this within my life, and every time you step foot into your new journey, you got to back up 10 spots. Where the fuck you gonna go? Where are you going to go? You're not gonna go nowhere. It's just when you don't deal with your shadow work, it's just an invisible prison that you carry with you all your life. You will never be free in that. It's an invisible prison that you only know exists, and it's an invisible prison that you have to break out of. You will never be abundant in that. You will never be abundant in that. Because like I said, that trigger, when you get triggered, that trigger is like a pum pum in your face. Hey, you remember what happened to you, don't you? You remember how scared you was? I need you to back the fuck up. You remember how bad they did you? You remember how much you was crying? You remember how bad your heartache was? I need you to back up. That's the fuck that shit do. That shit just bully you your whole fucking life. And me, how I am, I don't want to be bullied. I got too much Leo in my chart for that shit. I don't want to be bullied. Okay? Not like that. That's just too much. And it shuts you down. You just don't feel like, oh, I feel so bad right now. Tomorrow I'm gonna be okay. Mm-mm. 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 That shit shuts you down permanently. Like you say, oh, shop's closed. But what happened? I thought you was doing this, and and you did this, but what happened? I don't want to talk about it. I'm just closing down. And everybody looking at you like, what happened? I don't know, girl. I guess something must have happened. But ain't nothing really happened. Your trigger got in the way of your production. That's what happened. Your trigger got a way of you being um 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 cultivated. That's what happened. Then nothing else happened to you. Your trigger stopped the progress. Your trigger stopped the production. Your trigger stopped your greatness. Your trigger stopped your abundance. How far are you going to go with triggers hitting in your face all the time? You're not going to go that far. That's what you're going to do. You're going to be back in that prison of the shadows. You're going to be right back in that prison. You're going to be back in that prison of drinking, back in that prison of being sexually gratified. You're going to be back in that prison of food. You're going to be back because it's safe right here. These triggers ain't going to hit me in my face as long as I'm eating stuff in my face. These triggers is not gonna make me feel some type of way when I'm ignoring them by getting liberate all the time. They can't those triggers can't harm me there. So if you can't, you will not be productive. And once you understand your goal, that's why I always tell people when people talk about trauma, they always like to revert people back to their childhood because before the things that you encountered in this world, right? Before the things that broke your heart, before the things that broke your spirit, when you were a child, that was your most authentic self. That was your most authentic self when you were a child. Before your spirit got broken. Before your heart got broken. Okay? Before you got hurt. Before you were abused. That is the most authentic side of yourself. Your job here is to make sure you don't lose that. Because as long as you lose the authenticity of yourself, you are letting the shadows win. The more you let those shadows overcome your life, you are letting them win. The more you don't confront them, like your mama tell you, don't you come back in this house until you, and I don't want to hear they beat you up. You better go out there and fight them. And I don't want you to come back into this house until you fight them. She wouldn't tell you that because of the actual physical fight. They want to tell you that for the actual physical fight. Parents relay that information because they know if you start running every time you get uncomfortable, if you start running every time you got to defend yourself, you'll become a victim for the rest of your life. They didn't relay that information to you. They said it in another way. But that's the reason why they said it. So if you allow the things that hurt you in your life become the essence of you, you are now no different than what changed you. Oh, thank you very much. You are now, and if you can't like this live, okay? And if you guys missed any part of this live, I'm going to put this live on my YouTube, okay? I always put my lives on my YouTube, so it's going to, once I get off here, I'll probably be on here for another 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to be off. But like this live, share it if you can, and I'm going to place it on YouTube, okay? I place all my lives on YouTube, all right? Hey, sis, how you doing? Okay, so, the more you don't stop by to show love. All right, sis, thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Um, oh, thank you very much. So the more you allow those shadows to reside in you, the more you are now becoming those shadows. Now you are becoming that energy that tried to destroy you. Okay? Now you are becoming the things that tried to break you. That's why you always feel broken in that space. You have not came out of that hole of destruction. So now it's not only you, now it's not only them that puts you in the energy. You are placing yourself in this energy of destruction. And that's why it always feels like a hamster wheel for people that goes through this cycle, because they don't know where to begin and where it ends. They don't know where to begin and where it ends. That's why you have to do your shadow work. That's why you have to be clear on what it is and what's really real. Okay? That's why you have to defend your childhood self, your younger self at all costs. And you don't defend your childhood self and your younger self by becoming the things that broke your younger self down. You can't heal in that space. You will never be able to heal in that space. You will never be able to heal in a space that broke you. You won't be able to heal there. So you have to actually get out of that space. Okay? You have to actually get out of that space. Right? You have to take control so it can get things. Yes, you have to take control, because the more you don't, the more you're giving that other energy control. The more that other energy is controlling you. So who's control? So who's more powerful? That energy that broke you or your authentic self? Who's more powerful at this point? Because right now it seems like you're only giving the power to what broke you down. Who's more powerful at this point? Okay? That's how you have to look at stuff. Okay, now let's just see what toxic people should I distance myself from. Okay. When you need to take control. Yes, okay, so it says, what toxic people should I distance myself from? If you don't do your shadow work, you will be around people just like the people who hurt you. If you don't do your shadow work, you will be around the people just like the people who hurt you if you do not do your shadow work. Okay? Because what you understand, when you don't do your shadow work, you become ignorant to the facts. You become ignorant to the fact. So the more you become ignorant to the fact, the more you become ignorant to your surroundings. If you are ignorant to your surroundings, you are ignorant to the people that's in your life. And the more you are ignorant to the people that's in your life, the more you are allowing toxic people into your space. And then, whoop, here comes the cycle again. Oh, I've seen this story before. You hurt me just like Whoop the Boop hurt me. You did this just like such and such did it. You did this to me, and how can you don't know the difference? So if you're not healed in the space of your life where you know the difference between good and bad, and you know the difference between who's right and who's wrong, and you know the difference between toxic and healthy, you will always be in toxic situations no matter how healthy you think you are. You will always be in a toxic situation. You are familiar with that energy. You have not distinguished any differences in your life. Yes, and you will always have that pew pew in your face. You have not distinguished anything. Because now, have you not only became that energy, now you are gravitated to people who are that energy. And then you wonder why it feels so familiar there. And then you wonder why you expect these people to give you so much here. And then you wonder why these people hurt you like everybody else hurt you in that space. You have not used no discernment. If you cannot distinguish the things that caused your shadow, that caused you to be traumatized, if you can't distinguish what you have to do in order to get out that cycle, you will begin that cycle with everybody in your life over again. Not just the people that hurt you in the past. Not just with the people that hurt you when you was a kid. Not just to your parents. Not just to your siblings. Not just to your friends. You will begin that cycle with people that you encounter yourself with. You'll begin that cycle with the friends that you make. You'll begin that cycle with the people you lay down with. You'll begin that cycle with the people you make commitments with. Because now you don't know the difference between what's toxic and what's not. You don't know the difference between what's going to help you heal or what's going to keep you in the shadows. So since you can't tell the difference, and since you don't know who is who, everybody's able to come and give you something and you're going to accept it. You don't know the difference. You don't know the difference. So when they give you something that you already been handed, now you mad at them. Well, you need to be mad at yourself. Because your job was to distinguish, oh, nope, I done did the work. I done digested. I see you on the same bullshit that the other people that hurt me was on. I see you. You can't come up in here. I'm sorry, nope, no, I don't want it. Yeah, no, well, no. No, thank you. No, thank you, I don't want that. But if you always keep that door open for everybody to give you anything, yeah, you're going to be in that cycle all over again. You're going to be in that cycle all over again because you have not made anything clear. Right. It's still cloudy where you at. So, of course, you're going, if you've been traumatized as a child, if you've been traumatized in your life, in your early stages of life, of course you're going to meet friends that backstab you. Of course you are. Of course you are. Or you've been traumatized in your life, of course you're going to meet people that you're romantic with that just misuse you and damage you to the fullest. Of course you are. Of course you are. No doubt about it. You want to know why? You have not distinguished anything. You have not distinguished anything. You haven't made anything clear cut. You haven't said, hey, I know what happened to me. I know the energy that they bring. I don't want that energy in my life. So when that energy comes and step foot up in my door, I know exactly what it is. I'm going to shut that motherfucker. You have to be obedient to yourself. A lot of times we're not obedient to ourselves because we're looking for other people to be obedient to us when they can't be even obedient to themselves. We always looking for things outside of us. How you gonna get mad at them because they did something wrong to you when you told them what happened to you in your life, and then they do the same thing? They do the same thing because they not obedient to themselves. You didn't figure that out. And people show you who they are. People show you exactly who they are. So yeah, they hurt you like the people you told them, like the people you told them about. Yes, they did. They in that same energy. Why you think you let them in? It was familiar to you. Anything that is familiar to you, you will accept. Anything that's familiar to you, you will gravitate to. Anything that's familiar to you, you will partake in. But if you can't tell the difference between what's toxic and what's not, what are you partaking in? What are you opening the door to? What are you giving your energy to? If you can't even take the time to see what's toxic in your life, and you can't even take the time to see how toxic you are, what are you doing with yourself? You in that cycle. You were still in that cycle. You were in that same cycle of destruction. That's why shadow work is important. Shadow work is necessary. Shadow work cannot be unstopped. You cannot, if you look into progress in life, if you looking to do something different in your life, if you looking to change in your life, you got to go through that shadow work. You got to get in that mud with yourself. You have to. Ain't no ifs, ands, buts about it. You have to. You have to. Because if you don't get in that mud with yourself, you don't get down and dirty with yourself, acknowledge the things that you've been doing that could possibly be rubbing off on people. Acknowledge the things that you be doing that could be possibly rubbing off your kids, because you can't separate and digest the emotions from the trauma that you going through. You will never be able to elevate. You will never elevate in that space. I don't care how bad you want it. I don't care how much you pray for it. I don't care how much you manifest for it. I don't care how much you beg other people to give it to you. You will never get there. You will never get there. Because the part of that destination lies on you. It's up to you to distinguish what's right and what's wrong. It's up to you to treat yourself accordingly. It's up to you. It's up to you to love yourself the way you need to be loved. It's up to you. It's up to you not to partake in that energy just because you experienced that. You're not going to place that. You're not going to place that upon yourself. You deserve more than that. It's up to you. But if you don't know that, ain't nobody going to give that to you. They can't give it to themselves. Ain't nobody going to give that to you. And the people who are able to give it to themselves won't be giving it to you. Because the frequency you own, they can't get in touch with. You listen to, not this Sexy Red, but I'm just telling y'all how frequency work. Right? I'm telling you how frequency work. You listen to Sexy Red. This other person is listening to Erykah Badu. But you want the person who listened to Erykah Badu to switch over to a Sexy Red frequency and give you what you want there. That's not going to happen. But that's not going to happen. It's not. Because for one, the things that they try to give you, you're going to be unfamiliar with because it doesn't reside in you. You're going to be unfamiliar with that because you don't know what that is. You're going to be unfamiliar with that because you haven't taken the time out to say, hey, these people are actually on some positive shit. WYS. I don't know what that means. Break that down. I'm in my 40s. I don't know what WYS means, if it does mean something. So please elaborate on what that means. Okay, so yeah, you're not gonna know what that you're not gonna know what that is if you're in a toxic energy and someone comes to you with actually what you said. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Thank you. You're not going to be you're not going to understand that frequency of someone who isn't toxic. You're not going to understand that frequency of someone who ain't on bullshit. You're not going to understand that frequency of someone who actually is in peace with themselves. You're not going to understand that frequency of somebody who actually loves themselves because you're not in that frequency. You're not. Even if somebody came to you and gave you everything you said you wanted, you know what you're going to do? You're going to dismiss them. You're going to terrorize them. And you're going to misuse them. And you're going to mishandle them. Or you try to. You want to know why? That's the only energy that you understand. That is the only energy that you lead with. And those people who know who they are. And those people who would be able to give you love. And those people know about self-care and who they are on the inside is not going to stand around for that shit. They're not going to fight with you. They're not going to go back and forth with you. They're not going to play, I can do this to you while you do this to me. They're not going to play them games. They're not going to call your job and harass you. They're not. They're not going to tell you you can't see your kids. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to give you any energy to make you think that they're going back and forth with you. You want to know why? Because these people understand peace. These people understand real love, even if they don't physically love you within that situation. They're going to give you a piece of love because the love lives within them. The love resides in them. So if you're unable to see that, it don't matter what the fuck these people going to do. You're not going to see them. They're going to be gone. They're going to be gone. And you want to know what you're going to do? You're going to say, see, I told you everybody was the same. I told you everybody leave me. See, I told you. Ma'am, sir, you just gave these people hell. You literally terrorized these people. You've been physically, emotionally, verbally abusive to these people that actually had the ability to love you because they love themselves, but you want them to stick around. They're not sticking around in that shit. People who actually value themselves and people who actually did the work, even if they still have things to work on, people who actually did the work are not going to play them games with y'all. I promise you. And if you find anybody's playing games with y'all, it's because they're playing games with themselves. That's an easy distraction. Of course I'm going to come in and try to fuck your life up. I don't want to think about the shit I got to work on myself. Of course it's easy for me to call you out on your bullshit. I'm not going to recognize that shit in myself. So of course every time I see you, I'm talking about who you is and who you ain't. And that's why I do this. And that's because you stupid. And that, of course I'm going to go in on your ass. I'm not going to go in on me. This shit is a fucking cycle. It's a fucking cycle. Until you actually get in the mud with yourself. Until you actually get in the dirt with yourself. And you say, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care what I gotta do. I'm not gonna be in that energy no more. I don't like the way that shit feel. I don't be playing games with you. I'm not about to go back and forth with you. I don't want nobody around me that's toxic. I don't want no parts of it. I don't want to give it to nobody. I don't want nobody to give it to me. I just want it out of my life. When you get to that point, you are doing a great motherfucking job. At least you notice it's a difference. At least you noticing that you uncomfortable in that spot. At least you noticing and this is not how the fuck you want to live your life. You are doing good at that point. Now, you have to follow up with the things that you feel. Because if you don't follow up with the things that you feel, if you don't follow up with, I'm done with that energy, you're going to go right back there. You want to know why? Because it's comfortable there. You done lived your life there. People that you done love dearly in your heart is there. People that you love dearly in your surroundings are there. It's going to be easy for you to ride back down that road. You have to tell your higher self, nope, I know I'm not where I want to be right now, but I see you and I love you. And I'm going to protect you because I'm trying to get to you. I already know what my lower self look like. I already know what my lower self feel like. I already know what my lower self is capable of. I'm trying to get to my higher self. So I'm going to make sure I protect you because you're the place I want to be. Okay, yeah, I allowed those things in my life back then, but I'm looking in another direction. I'm not looking back. I'm looking in the front of me. I'm looking at you. And whatever I got to get to you, which is my higher self, whatever I got to do to get to you, whatever I got to do to get out this situation, whatever I got to do to change this energy, whatever I got to do to make sure that I'm at the greatest essence of myself, that's what the fuck I'm gonna do. I'm not looking back no more. That's how you change your life. That's how you change your life. Okay? Now let's see what else it says. How much has the corrupt force penetrated my life? I already talked about this. How much has the corrupt force penetrated my life? You be in trauma states, you don't let go of that hate, you don't let go of that anger, you don't let go of that pain, you don't let go of that trauma, you don't let go of that negative energy, those things will follow you wherever you are. And you will become it. You know, you can become something. Your spirit can become something. You can change your spirit into the emotions that you are adhering to. Your spirit has the ability to change, but by the emotions that you're feeding into it. So if your spirit has the ability to change by the things that you're feeding into it, and you're only feeding in anger, and you're only feeding the negative shit, and you're only feeding the trauma, and you're only feeding the self-destruction, where you think your spirit is going to be? Where do you think your spirit is going to be? Where do you think your spirit is going to lie? You don't allow the power of the trauma to penetrate your whole life. You don't allow that power of the trauma to penetrate your whole being. You don't allow that trauma to penetrate your whole lifestyle. Your friends, problematic. Your job, problematic. Your wife, husband, problematic. People at the store, problematic. You go to your kid's school, problematic. You go get you something to eat at the restaurant, problematic. Go to the hospital, more problems. You done allowed that force to take over your whole spirit, and you are taking that everywhere you fucking go. And then when people who love themselves say, you know what, I'm backing away from you. And then, I told you nobody cared about me. No one is going to allow you to misuse them if they're not traumatized too. That's why frequencies and alignment go hand in hand. You do know that, right? That's why people who love each other stay longer with people who actually, that's why people who love themselves actually align with people who love themselves. That's why toxic people align with people that's toxic. When they say birds of a feather flock together, why do you think everybody on these reality shows are on one accord? They are riding the same frequency. They are on the same wave. And as soon as you destruct disrupt that rave with your positive energy, they're going to be looking at you now because you're the outsider looking in. They're going to be looking at you now because now you are not on the frequency wave of negativity. Your frequency is on a whole nother wave. They don't understand that. They don't understand. They can't hear it. They can't comprehend it. They can't digest it. They don't know what it is. And when you talk about frequencies, we know about different languages, right? When people on certain frequencies, they might as well be having a different language. Like you guys are saying, you guys are speaking the actual English language or whatever language you're speaking, but they will not be able to understand you on that frequency. So it's just like you around a group of people that's negative, but you the positive one. But you are saying things that they understand, but the frequency is blocking the communication and then perceiving of what you're saying. So that's just like you might as well be in a room full of people who speak Chinese and you speaking English. They're gonna be looking like, talking amongst themselves in Chinese. Do you understand what they said? I don't know. No, I never heard that before. They just stand there talking. Do you understand? It's the frequency, it's the energy, it's the wave. So you can't understand how that wave and that frequency affects your life. You're going to become it. You're going to become that frequency. Are you welcome, sis? You're going to become that frequency. You're going to become that wave. You're going to become the things that traumatized you. Because that's how energy works. That's how spirit works. That's how frequency works. On one accord. Alignment. If you don't notice, if you can't recognize how your trauma changed your life, you are the trauma. If you can't recognize how the pain changed into somebody else, you will become the pain. I need y'all to be clear about that. You can't run from that. And I have witnessed people that I love, people that are dear to me. I have witnessed people trying to run from that all their life. And it seems like the further they think they run away from it, the deeper they're in the hole of destruction. The further they think they run away from their trauma, they fall further in that hole of destruction. And the further they fall in that hole, the harder it is for them to get out that motherfucker. You will never be able to run from that. And the more you run from that, the more you are running into that hole. And no one can save you in that hole. You are running into self-destruction. The more you are running away from the trauma, the more you run away from your shadow work. Yes, the more you resist, the more it persists. Yes. Yes. For things to elevate, it has to be a disruption there. I don't care what it is. And something has to be disturbed. Something has to be broken. Something has to be demolished for something to be greater or to elevate or to change. If you don't break the monotony, you keep on running from the things that hurt you. Where are you distinct? Where is the disruption of the trauma? Where is the evolution of positivity? There is none. So by you not changing anything, by you not evolving, you're just making that energy grow bigger. It's growing. You're not running away from it. You're running to it in a faster force. You run into it. You're giving it more power. Power. It's going to be greater than what it started off in. You are feeding the monster. You're not confronting that monster. You're not telling that monster, look, we not doing this no more. You feeding it. And then when the monster get too big for you to control, then you blame the monster. No. You have the control. You decide to place your power somewhere else. Oh, thank you, sis. Thank you for participating. You are giving that monster control. It's up to you. It's up to you. Let me see. What lessons do I still need to learn? We already went through that. Where's my deepest fears? I think you already been through that. Am I a victim of trauma? Have I done enough to heal? I already been through that. So I'm about to wrap this up. I've been on here for a minute. Um, if you not, if you didn't get the whole gist of it, I'm gonna upload this on my YouTube. If you're new here, hit the follow button and then follow me on my YouTube. If you haven't got all the information here, I'm gonna post this on my YouTube about shadow work. Okay, I don't think I dived a little bit deep. I didn't think I didn't dive deep into the shadow work pool. Okay, without actually coaching you on shadow work, because that is the other goal. Okay, that's what I'm putting in place right now. I have the ability to see shadow work in such a way and help people heal in the shadow work journey. I'm going to be giving classes on that. Okay, I'm going to be giving classes on that. I'm giving lessons for that. So if you just want to know what that shadow work journey looks like in general, like you want to know what it details and what happens when you don't do the shadow work and what happens when you do the shadow work, follow me. Okay, follow me. Follow follow my TikTok. Click that link in the bio. Go to my YouTube because I'm gonna upload this video on my YouTube. Okay, I'm gonna load this live on my YouTube the way I usually do when I do lives. Okay, all my lives go on my YouTube. All right, so I'm gonna be going. Y'all have a good one. Y'all stay positive. Y'all stay abundant. Y'all stay intact with yourself. Give yourself love. Give yourself peace. Give yourself grace. Okay. Give yourself compassion. No matter if you wrong, no matter if you right. Just understand you are at the place in your life where you are using the information that you have in order for you to get to a greater place in your life. Okay, the tool that you have to do is to utilize the information so you to elevate to another level. Okay, so y'all have a good one. All right, bye.